Go on.
Okay.
You already presented it. You presented it there.
I call the Thursday, February 28th, Ascension Parish Council meeting to order. Please stand for the invocation. Our invocation tonight will be led by Deacon Jerry Burrow of St. Anne Catholic Church.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening in thanksgiving and praise for the many blessings you've given us in our life. We ask, Lord, that you send your Spirit upon all who are gathered here this evening to open our hearts and our minds to the will of your people, and that we may act upon that will as well as doing your will throughout all the days of our life. We pray for those who are members of this council, that you will bless them, Lord, in a very special way, so that they can continue the work of serving your people. We ask these things in Christ Jesus, your Son. Amen.
Amen. Remain standing for our pledge. Our pledge tonight will be led by Ilana Virtua and James Virtua. Ilana is at San Mo High School. James is Galvez Middle. Their adult leader is Angela Virtua, a teacher at Dutchtown High School.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to wish a happy birthday tonight to James Virtua. He's 13 years old tonight. On roll calls, the next item, Ms. Suzanne, everybody is present. Number 3, Chair's Edition. I have 2 items to be added, 2/3 agenda. First one being Mr. Harry Robert with the insurance for the parish. I'll need a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Todd Lambert, second by Mr. George Valentine. All in favor? Opposed? Any discussion? All right. Next would be, I will add that to, let's go to,
Chairman, you could put that at 7B right after consent.
I'm looking at that. 7B it is. I have another consent, a 2/3 addition with Grace and Abear Architects concerning the water
moved.
tank.
Second.
By Mr. Valentine, second by Mr. Todd Lambert. All in favor? Any opposition? Okay, that will go at 18A. Public comment period. Anyone wishing to speak on any item on the agenda, please sign in with Ms. Suzanne. You will be allowed 3 minutes. And you will stick to the subject. Thank you. Next we have presentations. I'd like to call up Mr. Grant Smith. Ms. Suzanne, would you read the proclamation, please, for Grant Smith Day, please?
Yes. Now sit to read it, or you want me to go stand? That's fine. To proclaim Grant Smith Day in Ascension Parish. Whereas Grant Smith's achievement of National Junior High Calf Roping Champion is outstanding, and whereas Grant Smith's dedication and perseverance are examples of the best qualities and character of our Ascension Parish youth, and whereas Grant Smith's passion has earned him one of the highest awards obtainable and was done so at the age of 14 through individual commitment, effort, and talent. Now there be it proclaimed, I, Tommy Martinez, President of Ascension Parish, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereunto proclaim Thursday, February 28, 2008, as Grant Smith Day in Ascension Parish.
Then you will keep to the parish, right? Central Parish again. For your hard work, keep up the good work, bring back some good news next year. All right? Right for to stand here, Mayor President, Mr. Councilman Lambert, would you come down? Take a picture, please. Congratulations, Mayor.
That's good.
Good. Pat. There you go. Ready?
I'd like to now put the office Smith in the back, that's Grant's dad. Okay?
Mr. Moran. Gentlemen, I think this is going to honor our oldest citizen of Ascension Parish. Not quite sure of that, but I haven't heard anybody older than 105 yet. So with that, I'd like to say that we'd like to proclaim Lillian Moran Day in Ascension Parish. Whereas Lillian Moran is saluted and recognized as one of the elders of our Ascension Parish community, Lillian Moran will be on March 5th, 2008, achieved the outstanding milestone of 105 years of age. And Lillian Moran is a respected senior of our community, a lifelong resident of the Plessis and Ascension Parish. And Lillian Moran's spirit, strength of character, and joy for life is an inspiration for all of us. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, I, Tommy Martinez, President of Ascension Parish, State of Louisiana, by virtue of the authority vested in me to hereunto proclaim Wednesday, March 5th, 2008, as Lillian Moran Day in Ascension Parish, and urge my fellow citizens to observe this day. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, sir. Number 6, our parish president report. President Martinez.
Excuse me.
I'm very sorry. Hold up, President. Mr. Joseph had asked also to be on the agenda with the presentations. Mr. Joseph?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just want to make this announcement. I want to congratulate the Dawsonville girls basketball team. They are going to the championship tomorrow night, and I want to wish them good luck. And that's going to be tomorrow night at the Southeastern University in Hammond, Louisiana. And that's for the 2A championship. And I hope they do the same thing LSU did, bring the championship home. That's what I want to thank you.
Very good. Hopefully, Councilman Joseph, you and Councilman Schexnayder can bring the entire team here after they win the state. So,
Will do.
President Martinez, parish report.
Yes.
President report.
First, we want to reconvene the Home Rule Charter Commission. I've asked Mr. Crawford to draft an ordinance. I think it's in your packet for tonight. It's just something for you to look at, information only. If you have any questions, if you want to add anything or delete anything to it, at the next meeting, we'll go ahead and ask you to call a public hearing for the ordinance. And second, Waterworks District Number 2 interim appointment. We got a letter from Reverend Pettisco that he's having meetings. He doesn't have people that come to the board meetings. They don't have a quorum. he did some investigating and found out that 2 of his board members actually had moved out of the area. So I'm going to ask Mr. Thompson to take it from here and give us some names to appoint on an interim basis.
Thank you, Parish President. President Pettisclo made a recommendation and sent 3 names with applications that he had talked to help with the board, starting with Mr. Leo Graves Sr., Mr. Elijah Claiborne, and Mrs. Brendolyn Jock. And I offer that as a motion to appoint them interim.
We have a motion. Second by Mr. Benny Johnson. Any opposition?
Discussion.
Any discussion?
Yes. I guess, Parish President, I know it's under your report, but explain to us again why we're doing this now and we don't go through a regular procedure on how we appoint people to the board.
The reason why...
I'll go ahead.
I ask Parish President.
I will read the letter from
Okay.
Mr. Pettisclo.
All right. And what is it? When is it dated?
He is February 29th.
Okay.
Okay. And it's made out to Councilman Adrian Thompson. And says, Dear Mr. Thompson, I, Victor Pettisclo, serving as president of the Ascension Parish Water Districts Number 2, would like to inform you of some steps that was taken that was not in keeping with past practice. We have 5 members on the board. When a replacement was needed, it was advertised to the public through the parish council. However, in our last meeting, 3 of our board members did not attend, so we made an effort to contact these members. So we found out that 2 of these members have moved out of the area and will no longer be able to serve. The other member is no longer able to serve. However, no notice was given in advance to the board, so it took time to get the information. So knowingly that our next meeting was scheduled for the 10th of March, we took upon our own to try and locate someone to fill these people's place. So I'm sending you these 3 application resumes to be considered. However, I humbly apologize for what method I took, but it was only done to safeguard our next meeting date. So whatever step you take to correct this effort, we will appreciate. And we only asking that they would be appointed in the interim so they can have a meeting. They need the business.
Okay, I was going to ask, is there some emergency they need to take care of, Councilman Thompson?
Yes,
that
there's
you
some
know of?
bills to pay and some other business that the water board need to handle. And they don't have a quorum and they're behind.
Okay. I would like to amend the motion to read that we appoint them interim for 60 days so that then they can come through the process which set forth by this council to appoint them legally and properly. So I'll amend that motion.
I'll second that.
Have a amendment by Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Shakesider. Any discussion?
Yes.
Councilman Joseph?
I just want to, I want to make comment on the amendment. And I'd like to make this a 90-day because I'm just only looking at the process it's going to take.
I'll revise the amendment to 90 days. That'll be fine, Councilman Joe.
Okay.
And I'll second
Okay,
that.
and Councilman Shakespeare will second. Any more discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries.
Okay. Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
That would be the amendment. Now we vote on the original motion as amended.
Okay, the original motion as amended, I need a, who had a, who?
It was already moved.
It was already moved. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Okay, was there anything, that was it? Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I do have some comments for Parish President's report.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Parish President Martinez, appreciate the, I received the, we have in our packet a resolution, but this afternoon late, Attorney Crawford sent us the ordinance, which is the legal part, and I'm sure Ms. Manda collaborated with that, and I want to compliment both of them on a very well-written ordinance. I think the ordinance is a very good ordinance. I think it protects the integrity of the home rule charter and reconvening to look at certain aspects of that situation. I know that was one of the things I think you may have even campaigned on about that you was going to do, and I compliment you for bringing that to our attention and for us to vote on. So that will be something we can do in the future.
Well,
But it was a well-written document, and I thank Mr. Crawford and Ms. Manda for that.
Thank you.
Anybody else? We'll move to number 7, consent agenda. Adopt the minutes of the regular council meeting of February 7, 2008.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Randy Kluart, and second by Councilman Thompson. Any discussion? Opposition? Motion carries. 7B, Mr. Harry Robert.
Thank you, gentlemen. I've been working with the parish for about 20 years, and it's not often I have a chance to come up here and deliver good news, but tonight happens to be one of those opportunities. Before you have an insurance proposal that's similar to the overview that I gave y'all last time we met at the finance meeting. And some of the things that I'm gonna be covering are your general liability, your automobile liability, your crime, and your property coverage. Okay. If you look at the first sheet, just to give you a recap on the pricing structure, and you see why I'm kind of happy to deliver this message tonight. The insurance for your automobile went down from $60,000 to $58,000. Property insurance went down from $293 to $234. General liability from $173 to $133. Public officials from $55 to $43. Boiling machinery from 14 to 8, crime from 27 to 25, employee benefits from 232 to 218, employee-related practices from 17 to 14. So the total policy premium from last year is $455,000. Workman's compensation, which is a 2-year policy and is an audited type policy, you know, is the same price as it was last year initially for the deposit, which is $59,000. So there's some 25 to 30% savings for the same coverages that we had last year with the same company. So that's good news. Besides that, you know, another caveat that was discovered was that the company that's going to be writing the policy for the property, which is called Einshore, okay, they also agreed to write the Lamar Dixon for us. And the present policy that we have written with Lamar Dixon is costing the parish $145,000 a year. They're going to write it for $18,000 a year. So besides the 30% savings that we have in general liability and property insurance for the parish, we're also going to realize a substantial savings for Lamar Dixon's insurance policy. It's written through the same broker that we've been writing for the last 18 years, which is Arthur Gallagher Company. It's the same carrier that we've been having for the last 7 years, which is Travelers in St. Paul's. I know it's kind of short notice to ask for permission to renew the policy. The policy is up on March 1st. Okay, so in front of you, if you'd like for me to give you an overview of each one of the categories, I'll be happy to do it. But in each one of the tabs that you have, they have just a short explanation of the basics, which is the automobile, workman's comp, the property, and that sort.
Mr. Chairman, we did review this at the Finance Committee. This did come up, so
Okay.
just want to make that comment.
I'll need a motion.
And I
Move
would
to adopt.
happily move
Motion by Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Shakespeare. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Next, we will move to our committee reports. Number 8, Finance Committee, Chairman Lohr.
This resolution was passed at the Finance Committee meeting, but it needs to come to the full council to take effect, so I'm going to read it as stated. Be it resolved, the Council of the Parish of Ascension, the State of Louisiana, hereby adopt the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire for the 2007 audit of the government of the Parish of Ascension. Be it further resolved that the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire be presented to Auditors Falk and Winkler, said audit firm approved by the Ascension Parish Council and the State of Louisiana Legislative Auditor. I'd like to offer that as a motion that we accept this.
Motion by Chairman Lohr, second by Dempsey Lambert. Any discussion? Any opposition? Resolution passes. Next, number 9, Recreation Committee, Chairman Joseph.
That to the board, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Next, we'll go to number 10, Transportation Committee, Chairman Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman Bell. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to DPW Bob Turner. We have quite a few items here for transportation.
Thank you, gentlemen, Chairman Lambert. Chairman Bell. We have, on item number 1, we have 4 firms that we'd like to add to the task order contract list. This does not give specific task orders to these firms. However, it does put them on the list, makes them eligible for work. W.J. Quintmore for surveying services, SJV Group for right-of-way acquisition and surveying services, Mead Title, Stephanie Mead, Deborah Morrison, legal service for right-of-way and title opinion. Recommend that they be added.
Mr. Bob, at this time, I'd like to tell you that SJB would want number 4 deferred for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Motion on the task orders.
I'll second that.
Motion by Councilman Lambert, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries.
The second item is a weight limit reduction to 10 tons on Front Place Road. This is a residential area that's having some problem with trucks, and we're in support.
Moved by by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Johnson. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries.
Item 3 is a speed limit reduction from 25 miles an hour to 15 miles an hour, plus the addition of children at play signs on Kuan Drive. Recommend that be approved.
Motion, Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Kluart, second by Councilman Lohr. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries.
Item 4 is deferred. Item 5 is a certificate of completion on the 2005 RCO1 road project. This is a legal matter. The issuance of a certificate of substantial completion allows for this project to be closed. It allows for the retainage that we're holding on that contract to be paid. We'd recommend that that be done.
Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Lambert, second by Councilman Kluart. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries.
Item 6 is a number of roads that have been in subdivisions that have been constructed in accordance to Parish standards. We've inspected them, we've approved them, and we recommend that they be taken into the Parish system. With your permission, I'll read the list. Pecan Ridge Drive, Pecan Cove Avenue, Balmora Drive, Turning Leaf Drive, Rue Mason Boulevard, Florida List Drive, Rue Chalet Avenue, Seaside Avenue, Pierside Lane, Portside Lane, Ocean View Avenue, Essen Terrace Drive, Windsurf Avenue, Greensview Drive, Prairie East Drive, Prairie North Drive, Prairie South Drive, Mill Chase Avenue, Mill Grove Drive, West Mill Grove Avenue, and Dutchtown Mill Drive. We would recommend those be approved and taken into the system.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert. Second by Councilman Valentine. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries.
That's the extent of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Bob.
Hold on, Mr. Chairman.
Hold on.
Parish President, you had anything?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Okay, number 11, Personnel Committee.
Oh, hold on, Mr. Chairman. Parish President.
Mr. Bell, I noticed we're taking in a number of these subdivision roads. I'd like the council, we're going to be drafting some sort of ordinance to whereas if a subdivision is phased, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, if they build the road all the way through and they don't build a subdivision out, what happens is you take the road in before maybe the final phase or the second phase is done, and then that's when the building activity takes over, and the heavy concrete trucks and lumber trucks come in, and the road deteriorates, and at that point, we've taken that road in, and it becomes our liability. So, this is just food for thought that we could look at, and we're going to draft something to that effect, to whereas if we will not take these subdivision roads in until the entire subdivision is built out, or maybe just take the part that phase 1's in. But I just think it's a wise move on the part of the parish to save money and maintenance. So, just for information only. So.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. President, we spoke of that last year and just never did get to implement it, and I think that's a good thing. We really need to move forward with that, so I'm glad you're bringing it back up. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Lambert. Mr. President, thank you.
One more thing, Mr. Chairman. We will meet on March the 11th following the utilities meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Lambert. Next, we'll go to the Personnel Committee with Chairman Johnson.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The Personnel Committee met, and we came up with some recommendations to the full council. One of the first recommendations is to move to align all the boards to where the expiration of terms end on the same date, which would be December 31st. I'd like to make that motion.
Second. I got a motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Thompson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Go ahead, Councilman Valentine.
Councilman Johnson, explain that again to us now.
Where all appointees to the board's terms would end December 31st. As right now we've got several terms that end in the middle of the year. We've had some concern expressed where you've got committee appointments that expire in the middle of the year. These folks were elected to officers' terms on those boards, chairman or vice chairman or so have you. And if their term ends in the middle of the year, they wind up not getting reappointed to that board for whatever reason. It causes a little bit of chaos on the board. So in order to realign everything, to do those terms, all terms concurrent to where they expire on December 31st.
And you're speaking of all boards?
Yes, sir.
Council, I'm going to suggest that this is going to be a problem, simply because you have long. Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to make. You have long-standing boards. You have planning and zoning. You have the Board of Adjustments. It may not be a problem, but you could get in a situation where you get a majority of council members that are new that come in, and you get all ending on December the 1st, which are all volunteers on these commissions. So you may have people that will be taking over some of these positions where they are strictly all volunteers and maybe not know what the routine is. The reason most of these commissions and boards have staggered terms, where they have 4-year terms and 2-year terms, is so that you keep experience on boards where people actually know how to run a meeting, how to conduct a meeting, because a lot of these are citizens who want to get involved, who want to volunteer their time to the parish business. And I think this is a bad move. I would like some explanation on the discussion that went on at the personnel meeting to justify what we're doing. I understand what you're saying, Council.
It was staggered terms. It wasn't to have everybody end at that. It was basically like if you have a 5-member board, 2 members would end 1 year, and then 2 years later the other.
He's not saying that they will all be abolished. They'll all leave at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, I did. Okay, all right. Okay.
Whatever that term is, it'll end in December of that year.
I understand. Okay. So you would still have experienced people that would be coming over to the...
Correct, yes, sir.
But yes, Mr. Valentine. But it also makes it a little cumbersome for the fact that you got a new council that's taking over and having to deal with it also. I mean, we went a whole month of July, in fact, I'm just now finding out we had a council personnel meeting on the 19th, which I wasn't aware of. So we went the first, month because of the fact of inexperience and what have you with the new council coming on. So we create some of the problems. So you might want to, instead of picking December 31st, you might want to pick July 31st, in the middle of a term or something. That's my only suggestion.
The discussion intent was to look at those boards and advertise in August, September time frame, do the interviews prior to that, just have those folks that are going to be appointed to those boards take office January 1st. The folks that are still there will serve their term to the end of that year. It just gives you some leeway. When all the terms are ending, and if you have someone who resigns from a board earlier, you just point them to fill an interim position to the end of that time. Hopefully it will save on time and effort towards the end. It just puts it all at one time of the year where you're doing that, hopefully.
Mr. Chairman?
Councilman Kluwer?
Yeah, correct me, some of you guys, I wasn't here in December, but wasn't there a meeting in December? Is that not how the prior council was handling it? Didn't they have a meeting in December where they did elect people to a board? Okay.
I can explain that.
Thank you.
Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Councilman Valentine.
There was a personnel meeting that took forth because there were boards that needed to be presented. Mr. Savoy, who was the chairman of the personnel committee at that time, asked for a 2/3 so that we could appoint, and the council at that time would not give him the 2/3 to put it on the agenda so that it could be completed. So yes, we do have some boards that went by. I think you're asking for a lot of trouble, though, if you're going to put all these people at one time. You're going to find a personnel committee, if you choose to continue to do it the same way, is going to be interviewing a lot of people. You got a pool of volunteers out there, but what you're doing is you're narrowing down your time only in that September frame, what you're talking about, Mr. Johnson. You're narrowing it down that all the volunteers that want to volunteer would come through that time period. I think you're going to find more volunteers over a year period as they see how government progresses and they want to get involved. But that's just my opinion.
Anybody else? Councilman Schicksnyder.
Yes, thank you. I don't really have a whole lot of problem with it, except for the fact that I foresee with the number of boards that we do have, I do foresee an overwhelming amount of people that's going to come up at one time during the year, and it will be very hard to accomplish at that time period. The possibility of maybe you could do it at two different times, maybe on the 31st of December and maybe July 1st or whatever, in order to ease that burden and as we say, spread it out so that take a number of boards on one and a number of boards on the other. I like the idea of having a particular date. I think that's a good idea, and I'm glad we're having this discussion. But you're going to see an ongoing personnel issue as you come up, and we have so many boards and commissions that if we have to fill them all at once, especially around Christmas time, it's going to be a real chore. So I would like the discussion to kind of continue or see if we could split them at least once. I think it's a good idea. I'm on board, with the rest of the council guys are trying to set up something like this. I just think if we do it all in December, it's going to be a bottleneck there.
And we discussed that as far as trying to do it at multiple times during the year, and it lends some other issues that come into play as far as when you're appointing people, who gets appointed to the term that ends in the middle of the year versus the person that gets appointed to the term that ends at the end of the year. Once you get it all aligned, it kind of works itself out, and that still may be. And if it's the board runs into some issues to where we're having trouble with that and making that go, we can back up and make it in twice a year, or if it's the council's wish that we go and rediscuss it, that's fine as well. Just to make it, this was an idea that was brought forward to try to align everything and hopefully make it a little bit easier. That was the original intent.
Councilman Valentine?
Yeah, one more question, which he just spurred a thought to me. If somebody is appointed to a board and they quit in February, we're going to have to appoint somebody that just can't go the whole year without that appointed. So you're going to have to appoint. You're going to have to even still do what you want to do even throughout the year, because people are going to leave boards. you know, so y'all talk about that.
Yes, sir, and they would be appointed to fill the vacancy for the term. That's unexpired term.
And then typically that's what we do anyway.
Correct.
Councilman Joseph?
And Mr. Valentine, exactly what you're saying. The end of the year is the term of it, but during the year, you still will have those coming up. But instead of that month, we're eliminating them. We're putting them at the end of the year. So that instead of having 2 years exactly, they might have 2 years and 3 months. And that's when they will come up for review automatically.
Anybody else? Anything else, Councilman Johnson?
You got that?
We have to, we've got a motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Thompson. Any more discussion? Councilman Joseph.
I just want to be clear on the motion here, okay? So the motion is on the floor that we're going to do it at the end of the year, once.
Yes, sir. As we appoint people to the boards, we'll align their terms to end December 31st and keep those terms staggered.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more discussion? Any opposition?
I'm opposing. Yeah.
We have one opposition, Councilman Valentine.
Oppose as is.
And Councilman Shakespeare opposes. Motion carries.
Next, Mr. Chairman, we discussed the ACDU #1 board. We have 5 openings or 5 terms that have expired on that board. We would also like to align those to where those terms are 4-year terms, staggered as well, and advertise for applications to fill those positions.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion by Councilman Lambert, second by Councilman Joseph.
I take that second back.
I second that.
All right, second by Council Shakespeare. Any discussion? Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yeah, where is that on the agenda? I don't see it on the agenda, that particular issue.
It was discussed under the committee. I'm not sure.
You know, I see it, 4 items here, but I don't see that one on there. And before we can move on it, it really needs to be on the agenda.
Okay. We can come back to that one.
I'll make that motion that we put it on the agenda if we need to act on it.
Skip.
Councilman Shakespeare.
Well, a couple of things. When we advertise for positions on the commission, it really doesn't need to come on the agenda. When their time is up, the parish is supposed to advertise. If we want to inform everyone that we have 5 openings for the ACUD board, which we've had for a long period of time, and that we want to try to put applications out, all we have to do is announce it, and then when it comes due, we can fill those boards. But I don't know why we're voting on advertising on an open seat already.
So, Mr. Chairman, I guess that really doesn't need to be a motion. It's just an announcement.
But
you don't really need a motion.
The concern that we had was realigning the terms to 4 years. I think currently they're serving 2-year terms, and the committee wanted to run those to 4
So
years.
you're changing the policy, so it should be on the agenda.
Correct, yes, sir.
So, well, if that's the case, then it needs to come on the agenda as to what you want to do.
We'll do that till next. We'll put that on next.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Councilman Johnson?
Yes, sir. Mental Health Board, the discussion was to recommend that the positions for all positions be opened up and advertised for reappointment for that commission. So we're making a motion to vacate that board and advertise to refill it.
Motion by Councilman Johnson,
Second.
second by Councilman Thompson. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yeah, before we move on this, the previous council have, authorized the legal to go out and, do a little research on this and come back to us on, and we never have received any information back on the board and the director for as where's the issues that we're having. So I don't know why we want to get rid of the board if we, can you explain to me why we're removing the board? Have we got any of this information back to determine which way we want to go with it?
No information as far as the...
Maybe I can ask Ms. Mandy on that if you have any legal...
Last I heard, I don't think Ricky was able to find anyone to investigate the
So
board.
we just dropped the ball on it?
Last I heard was several months ago, and I haven't heard anything since, so...
Okay.
Councilman Joseph?
Yes, Mr. Todd Lambert is correct. And ever since the last meeting we had about, I think it was October time frame, we have never got a response back from our legal advisor on if he found any personnel, anybody on to do that job.
I'm fixing to call him up. Fixing to call him up right now.
I'm done, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Before we finish our vote, I'm sorry I neglected. I have 3 public speakers. First, I'll call Ms. Cheryl Fontenot up, please.
Good evening, gentlemen. During the past 8 weeks, I have spent time with my family, much of it at Our Lady of the Lake Hospital, with my mother. Instead of going to the hospital tonight, I have come here to this meeting because of the importance of the Mental Health Board and the services provided to our citizens, most of them children. During my 4 years on the council, I spent a great deal of my time researching the need to keep the Mental Health Board in place and securing their input into how our mental health funds and programs can best serve our citizens. Minutes of a Personnel Committee meeting of February the 19th reveal this council is being asked to, by the Personnel Committee, terminate all members of the Mental Health Board and advertise for new members. Why was this meeting not put on TV? Why don't you want the public to see what you're discussing and deciding? I believe the removal of the board members to be an ethical violation of the mental health ordinance, which I wrote, which sets the length of the terms. These are staggered to keep stability and consistency on the board to provide the best service and to not allow one administration to stack the deck. I consider these members to be whistleblowers, as they came before me when I served on this council and sought an investigation of the Mental Health Agency and its director as to why so many counselors were leaving. Instead, the administration took upon itself to conduct questioning former employees themselves, and the independent investigation authorized by the previous council, of which I was a member, has not taken place. Your response to this issue is to remove the board members who asked for the investigation. I have contacted the Ethics Board and believe it is not legal to remove from government boards for this situation. They have requested a letter, which I will hand deliver to them tomorrow, to begin an investigation of this council's actions. It is our duty to provide whistleblowers protection as they perform their duties on behalf of the public good. Hitler came to power by using a subservient legislature to control the government.
3 minutes up, Ms. Cheryl.
Do not be used
Your 3
like
minutes
this
are
to
up, Ms.
destroy
Cheryl.
services to the public and place people on the board who rub stamp your issues. My 3 minutes is not up. It's timed. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Brad Levine. You'll have 3 minutes, Mr. Levine.
Parish President, Council, Mr. Chairman, how y'all doing tonight? I'm here tonight with great concern on the Parish President attempting to terminate the present members of the Mental Health Board. Back in September, the Parish Council voted and passed that the Director and the Board be under an investigation by an independent investigating group, not by the administration. First of all, the President's office, the administration, has not the experience to conduct such an investigation on mental health. My intentions, Parish President, is not to degrade you or your administration. I don't stand for that. But to finally give the people of this parish what they deserve, and that's the truth about mental health. I'm telling you that I am sick and tired of the administration of the parish covering up the misconduct and the misappropriation of funds by the Director of Mental Health, which the board fights so hard to protect. The fact is that the Mental Health Board just wants answers as to why she is spending our money like it is her own, and why the 27 employees that worked with mental health left due to the ruthless tactics of the director, which she states, and it's filmed on TV, in one of the mental health meetings, that they left because they didn't get paid enough. 4 months ago, we had employees from former employees from the mental health that came and told the previous council and the parish president that they did not leave due to that. They left because of the ruthless tactics of the director. They also fought to get the director to do a $50,000 a month grant that was provided by
3 minutes up, Mr. Levine. Next, Miss Catherine. I've got it right here. Okay, we are too, right here.
You timing it? Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Miss Catherine.
Does the gentleman need to have the rest of his time? Okay. Council members, you have in your packet for this agenda item meeting minutes for the Personnel Committee meeting that was held on February 19th at 6 p.m. in these chambers. But the calendar that was sent and posted on the website does not have anything listed for February 19th. Not all the members of the committee were contacted, the press was not contacted, and the meeting was not publicized to the public. It says there are no events on this day. Why was this done in the dark and kept in the dark? This is a public body. Open meeting laws require that the public have access to your activities, deliberations, and decisions, and every meeting shall be open to the public. You are to give notice of date, time, and agenda. I have not found yet any notice that you gave to the public of this meeting. I believe it was an illegal meeting. And you carried on business there at that meeting, quietly, outside of the eye of the public and the press, and it was illegal. That's what I believe. If that is so, then the minutes of the meeting that you're discussing tonight cannot be discussed in public in its body. In fact, the very thing that Mr. Benny Johnson discussed is not on the meeting minutes. It's not there. You just passed something that wasn't recorded in your meeting minutes. Said nothing about it. The problem with mental health will not be solved by removing board members who have asked to get to the bottom of a problem. The pile under the rug just gets bigger. The truth is being covered up and the people are being kept in the dark while you gentlemen are sitting there smiling into the camera. This charade will not solve the problem of mental health. President Martinez and I have discussed in private, and it's time to stop backsliding the council and the public. I received a resolution yesterday from the President's office about his item on his President's report, and today that resolution was transformed into an ordinance, substantially changed. The law is not being followed. I believe the honeymoon is over. If you are doing right, gentlemen, you will not be afraid to do your business in the light. Good government is never practiced in the dark. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Levine, we will give you 1 minute.
Back where I started from, the Mental Health Board fought the director to do the grants for the $50,000 that was offered by the hospital board. The director refused to do it. Also, they conducted a needs assessment that spent $20,000 of the taxpayers' money. The mental health director refused to do it. She was also told that we need counselors in the Donaldsonville clinic. The mental health director refused to do it. It's now housed by a state office now. The fact is that the board is terminating the wrong ones. You know, it's a shame. It's a shame that the people are here on their own time and get nothing for doing this. It's also a shame that previous administration advised the mental health agency not to give information to the board. I have that email. I showed it before. When I spoke to Mr. Martinez, he stated that he has not been in office long enough to look into this matter and did not have the time to take care of it. That's all. Thank you. Have a good night.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnson, a second by Councilman Thompson on the floor. Any more discussion?
Yes, Chairman.
Councilman Valentine.
I understand the battle that's going on here, and certainly, once again, we're talking about volunteers to a board that primarily oversees a millage that we have in this parish. You don't have that type of board a lot through this parish, where you have a library board, but you don't have one simply like the mental health board, and that is the establishment of that board as a board to oversee those funds, to give recommendations to the parish president. It is our job to put people on this board, and it's our job to take people off of this board. I don't want to say we're being a little hypocritical, but we just had a discussion on trying to adjust all the boards that they end at a certain time on a year so that we wouldn't have a lax time and they could be appointed, and we wouldn't, have a board go without a length of time with nobody serving. Well, we fixing to make a motion here, which we made the motion, fixing to vote on a motion where we're going to disband a board where they won't have anybody on it. And we're not sure if there are going to be any volunteers that's going to volunteer to come on this board now to take over the positions of these people to enact the advisory capacity that they're there for. I'm very disturbed that some of the comments I hear tonight, but I talked very briefly, because I didn't get here on time, with Mr. Johnson about the fact that council members should all be notified when there are meetings, committee meetings. Even though you're not on that committee, you need to know. I was not aware of this personnel meeting taking place myself. And so, therefore, one of the facts, it was not on the calendar. It was not on TV. The council does not have control of the TV. The administration has control of the TV. But he has to know when these things, and his people have to know when they're on so that they're broadcast. I will agree, as past chairman of the Personnel Committee, we did not broadcast meetings where we interviewed people because of the privacy of the interview, the people that wanted to serve on our boards in a volunteer capacity. But when we handle businesses dealing with raises, policies, those meetings were broadcast. And it should be broadcast. So I'm telling you right now, just because of the fact that I think that this council is putting itself in a bad situation, I'm going to vote against this, the removal of these members. Okay. It should be done in a normal time as their terms come up, which they are all staggered just like everybody else. In fact, I think there's a couple of them that's expired. You could easily be applied. We should be advertising for that and filling that as we speak.
Councilman Lambert?
Yeah, Ms. Mann, on this, have you looked at this as far as ethically? We're hearing maybe some illegal stuff happening ethically. Has that been reviewed by our legal?
No, but I don't believe there's an ethical violation of a parish ordinance.
Okay.
No.
And everything else is legal on this?
Mm-hmm.
Any more? Councilman Shakespeare.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think everybody around here is well aware, members of my family and I have talked about it also. We have a disjointed group working together in mental health, and I don't want to put anybody on any, but the relationship, a disjointed relationship between the mental health board and the director, and everybody's pointing fingers, and I would just like to get some answers, you know, and it's hard to just pick one thing here and one thing there. I know we requested before that investigation be done, an independent investigation be done, because it appears to be a number of problems, not just you know, 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, but we have an inherent problem in that department. I don't know what it is. I don't profess to be an expert on it or anything like that, but I do know we have a problem, and it's pretty obvious if you ever watched the meeting. That's a problem, and we can't let continue like this. The right answer may be to eliminate the board, but I doubt it. I would like to see, before we make any action, that we reconvene and ask an independent group to do a study of that group so we can find out and give us a report so we can find out exactly what's going on, so that we can make a logical decision that's going to be fair for everyone. And I think that's the direction we ought to go. We started that process. We were stopped in the middle of that process and never did get a report on that. And I think that was the right decision so that we can make an educated decision and that's right for the people of this parish and the people in the mental health department. And I think that's the right thing to do, and I'd like to make that as an amendment to his motion that we would do that.
We have an amendment by Councilman Shakespeare to the original motion.
I second.
Seconded by Councilman Kluart. Any discussion on the amended motion?
I'd like to speak.
Councilman Kluart.
Yes, I just, you know, with the prior council, and I say prior council, we still have, you know, a number of members from the council before coming back in, the senior guys. Can anybody shed any light on why the investigation didn't go forward? Anybody within the staff or the prior council?
Well, we just got the information from legal that, you know, apparently they couldn't find anybody to do the investigation, but I'm not sure if new administration maybe can reach out and find someone or not, you know, but I think it does need to happen. We need to investigate both sides, because as a councilman in the past 4 years, I've got many calls from past employees of mental health, you know, with nightmare stories. So you don't know which side is which. So we need a thorough investigation. If we get rid of the board, we might need to get rid of everything and regroup if we're going to start from fresh, you know, right off the bat. So we need to look at that hard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I hadn't seen an answer to anything. I understand, Mr.
It went to administration, and then that was it.
So it's apparently some folks that are not here anymore. Okay, so it's our job now, but we owe it to everybody to try to figure out what's going on.
All right, Mr. Kluart, I would just make a comment on what you said, that they are gone. They are not gone. I mean, currently, we had attorney Ricky Babin to do and hire that service out for us. He could not find anyone with that service. The last meeting he had hired someone. It took 10 days, and they told him, look, we don't want to have nothing to do with this. Okay? So that investigation is still out there. I would make that amendment with Mr. Shakespeare. If we don't have an answer in 60 days, 30 to 60 days, we do what we have to do to resolve this problem. That completely revamped the whole board and the administrator. I mean, we should do that, because, as Kent just said, the community is just appalled at some of the things that they see on television. And we do not know if we're moving forward or backward. But currently, setting an example for the community, we're not doing it. And so, I mean, I would give 60 days. And if we do not have one, then this council should make one. That's what they voted us here for, to make a decision. I mean, 4 years, 5 years, and we're still dragging on here in the community and not improving, and it's just putting a bad taste in good politics, good officials. and we need to make a decision.
And
So my
apparently
motion is to,
apparently we're losing out on some good revenue. We're losing out on some services for people. So with all the bickering, so let's try to come to some kind of resolution on this.
Okay. I have a motion by Council Shakespeare to amend the original motion, second by Councilman Kluart. Any more discussion? Any opposition?
Just for a point of clarification, the amendment is that we give 60 days. Is that what you stated?
60 days.
For Mr. Shakespeare. I mean, I want to make sure we
My proposal was to do a study, and I'm like Councilman Joseph on the last thing. 60 days may not be enough to get everything in place and do it, so I would like to make that 90 days.
Okay.
To give ample time for administration to hire somebody, investigate, report to us, and we can make a decision, and then we can come back with an educated chance to make or a chance to make an educated decision on what to do.
Right. For point of order, for clarification, then you should have a substitute motion, Councilman Shakespeare, instead of an amendment.
And I apologize.
The original amendment would be that we terminate.
It would be a substitute motion.
Substitute motion. Any more discussion? Any opposition?
I object.
Go ahead.
Chairman Bell.
We got an objection by, yes, ma'am.
Or do you want the
Oh, he made the motion. Mr. Shakespeare. Mr. Shakespeare made
Councilman
the motion.
Shakespeare, second by.
So who is the investigation?
Excuse me.
Charge of the investigation, or do you want
You
administration?
gotta get outside.
I want an outside independent group.
You want administration to take care of that, or the
Yes.
Miss Manda is one and the same. She's an AD and she works for the parish. So.
I would think you work for the parish, so I mean you could head that up.
okay.
Councilman Joe.
Question on that. So currently, right now, we have the current attorney for the parish, Mr. Ricky Badman. We're releasing him from that duty. That's what you're doing.
That's what I understand.
That's what I would think that we would want to.
Right.
Parish President?
Let me just
I mean, it's still
say a few things on this. Basically, the charter gives you the right to investigate any department or the parish president's office or anything in there. I mean, I don't think Miss Manda should lead it because she's in the office every day. She basically works for Ascension Parish. Now, the previous council had asked for an independent investigation into, I guess, the mental health department, per se. And Mr. Babin was charged with that job. Now, I don't want it to look like, because a couple of things tonight was said that, I don't know, Hitler, and I mean, I never even attended the personnel committee meeting. But just, I don't want any reference. I would hope that Mr. Babin would handle it or someone else from the DA's office would handle it. Because I don't want it to look like we're investigating ourselves. We've been accused in the first 2 months of a lot of things. I've sat down with Ms. Middendorf. I've talked to her. I plan on looking into the entire situation. I have not received one complaint from a mental health board member. I have not received one complaint from a patient that goes to the mental health clinic, except that one was 4 hours late for an appointment. We did an investigation into that, and it was the state doctor. Now, I did receive some complaints. The one I read in the paper from Mr. Levine. I talked to Ms. Fontenot about it. But as I said, I have not received anything. But I am looking into that department. But I would like you to go ahead and continue with your investigation. We're going to also be, from my side of the point, my side, looking into it also. So, but I would hope that you don't ask Ms. Manda to do that.
Well, and the big deal about it is that we know it's an election year, and you don't want to put somebody that's running for office into an investigative position. That's not something that we would want to do also.
That other assistant.
And
I'm sure there's a lot of
if we would go through and put it through the DA's office with someone that is head it up other than that, then that would be fine, because it puts him and everyone else in an awkward position.
Councilman Valentine.
Mr. Babin could easily hand that off to Mr. Crawford, somebody else within the ADA. And look at him. He's looking at me saying, oh, God. I have a suggestion for you. But anyway, I actually had a person that actually is a facilitator that I discussed this situation with a couple of nights ago at the Loop meeting. And I think you'd probably be willing to do that. So I think what happened in the transition with the new parish president coming on, Mr. Babin kind of sat back and said, okay, well, let's see what we're doing with this. He did have a lot of trouble securing someone to do this because of the nature. It's political, it's financial. You know, they didn't know if they wanted to look at the financial end of it, but this problem encompasses everything, gentlemen. It encompasses financial, it encompasses losing grants for this parish, it encompasses our young people, making sure that they have services, making sure they see the same counselor every time they go to meet with their counselor to discuss their problems. When you see in 2 and 3 and 4 different counselors at a time, believe me, it's very difficult to get this child on the back to a functioning properly. So, Mr. Shakespeare's substitute motion is in order. I think we should pass it and give this 90 days, and Mr. Babin can hand this off to someone else, or I'll give him some suggestions, or any councilman can give anybody any suggestions for him. Councilman Kluart.
Yeah, I just want to make clear one more time who's going to the DA's office with this. Would it be the administration? All right. Who's carrying the ball here?
Mr. Babin is carrying the ball at the present time.
Yes.
That hasn't changed.
And he will give that off to somebody else within that
Either
DA's
he will
office.
accomplish it, or he will give it off to someone else.
Yes, I just want to make clear that it is getting somewhere, and it's going to go somewhere, because it sound like it's been a topic a long time. I've only been here a month and a half.
I understand.
Okay, and I don't want to be talking about it 3 years from now.
Since the last 3 parish presidents.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got a first and a second. Any more discussion? Any opposition? The amended motion passes. One opposition, Councilman Thompson. Motion passes. Councilman Johnson, is your... Okay, thank you. We'll go into general business, Ascension Economic Development Corporation, an annual report by Mr. Tommy Kurtz.
Good evening, Chairman Bell, President Martinez, and members of the council. We have our annual year presentation giving a summary of our activities for 2007, and then also we want to show some of the work that we've done with GIS technology for site selection in Ascension Parish. We've put together a packet for you which has a copy of the presentation, also all the projects and prospects that came into the parish last year and all the RFPs that we responded to on behalf of Ascension Parish. On the attraction side, we helped locate the Dynamic Fuels, the biofuels plant, which is located to Geismar with 45 jobs, $126 million of investment. That was the project that the past council refunded the $600,000 in sales tax. We just received this past, actually in January, a $400,000 grant to match the $600,000 rebate for $1 million rail spur that will help land that project. Some of the other projects that we helped land, the Kellogg's distribution facility in Geismar, and also the Kinder Morgan liquid bulk terminal in Geismar. So from the attraction side, we were responsible and helped create 116 jobs and $164 million investment. We were also a finalist for the Staples Call Center that located to Baton Rouge. Y'all may have read about. They looked at the former Floor Center for FEMA in Gonzales. And we were also a finalist for the Shaw project, which was the Project Sonoma that actually looked at the mega site even before it was certified. We had 25 prospect visits in 2007. We answered 23 RFPs. We attended a variety of trade shows and conferences marketing Ascension Parish, and we did national marketing of the call center and also the mega site around the country. And then we have a state-of-the-art website that actually we invite you to look at, which has a lot of information on the parish for companies considering the parish and for companies in the parish. On the retention side, we worked with Pierce Foundry, Pax, DuPont, and Beveltech on expansion plans and finding actually locations within the parish and expanding within the parish. And that ended up in creating about 85 jobs and $73 million in capital investment. As part of our retention calling program, we call on companies in the parish to try to get an idea of expansions and also help them with issues within the parish. We also went to Texas with the Baton Rouge Area Chamber and called on corporate headquarters. We had 5 visits to companies that had operations in Ascension Parish, including Houston and Dallas. And then we have a software program called Synchronous, which helps us monitor the information. And we're the only parish in the Baton Rouge area that actually has the software. Our Edible Creation Center, the food incubator at Lamar-Dixon, we had 12 active tenants last year that are using the facility. As a matter of fact, one of our tenants, the frozen espresso shop, will be profiled in The Advocate this Sunday. And it'll be an interesting story written by Gary Perilou in The Advocate. And some of the other things that happened last year at the incubator, we do have a part-time manager on contract to help tenants with getting into basically helping them with marketing and packaging. We also received a $50,000 grant, which helped us install a flash freezer. We're the only food incubator in the country that has a flash freezer, which has been very instrumental in helping the Jazzy Bird, for example, in creating the espresso shots, which are now in about 5 to 6 stores in the Baton Rouge area. And since the inception of the food incubator, we've received over $92,000 in grants, which have gone into equipment at the incubator. Movie locations, we had 2 films shot in Ascension last year that we helped with, which include the Curious Case of Benjamin Buttons and the Loss of the Teardrop Diamond. And we have 2 pending films, Bonnie and Clyde and State. We also have another small budget film called Anytown, USA that we've been working with. We also coordinated with the state on the American film market, and we're marketing locations around Ascension in L.A. For movies. And we actually had another location in town last week, $8 million film looking at Donaldsonville to do some shooting. As you all are familiar with the mega site, I'm going to pass this map out. The 1,000 acres across the river was certified officially on December 13th. It becomes the only deep water certified mega site in the country, which we think will give us an advantage on large industrial projects, considering not only just Ascension but Baton Rouge. We're also, with some state funding that we got, some grants, we were doing a rail and electrical study. So that was the 2 areas that we were weak on that site. So we're determining what the costs are. And the map that I'm sending out now, we've actually sent that to 25 site selection consultants around the country, which gives very detailed information on the site. We even created a web page that actually has all of the information on the mega site. Phase 1, environmental, basically wetlands analysis, soil bearings, all the engineering work that would be required, including the option that we secured on the site. So in addition to the site in North Louisiana and the site in Tangipahoa, we're only one of 3 certified mega sites in Louisiana, and the only one on the Mississippi River that's certified. Our business park project, we have 3 final sites. We're working with owners and national developers on trying to develop a business and office park in the parish. We're also trying to obtain potentially an option on one of those sites, and have even created a website for that project to work with developers and owners. We also worked with BASF on a downstream chemical project with SSA Consultants out of Baton Rouge. This allows us to target particular type companies that could use streams and co-locate on BASF's property. Grants and funding, we secured $118,000 last year for the various projects that we did, including the mega site, the business park, and the incubator, in addition to the funding that the parish gives us in Gonzales and the other private funding. We also secured a $35,000 grant from Entergy and the state for Pierce Foundry, which expanded in Prairieville. So that was a project that didn't cost the parish a dime, nor the company. And actually, those fire hydrants are being installed this week, and it was very important on their expansion. And then once again, we received a $400,000 EDAP grant from the state, which matched the $600,000 match from the parish council last year, for a total of $1 million for the rail spur for Tyson's first biofuels plant in the country in Dosmer at the Lion copolymer plant. What are we doing for this year in 2008? We had a training, as you all know. Most of the council participated. We did a training on site selection and what's involved in it from one of the top site selection consultants in the country. I'm going to show this in a second, but we're also one of the first parishes in the state that's using GIS technology for economic development in order to determine sites, potential sites and parcels in Ascension Parish. We'll continue to market the mega site nationally, internationally, and continue to work on the business park project. LeBlanc's Food Stores has agreed to dedicate a shelf for some of our food incubator tenants. We will continue the downstream chemical program. The Baton Rouge Area Chamber has actually hired a national public relations firm to get more coverage on Baton Rouge, especially post-Katrina, and they'll be profiling companies in Ascension Parish and activities going on in Ascension Parish. And then we're also working with the Baton Rouge Area Chamber and some local parishes, and we have a state grant pending to buy a logistics model software, which will help us when we have companies come in town to do analysis of what their cargo coming into the area, what that would cost. That would be developed by Carter Burgess Jacobs Engineering. Those are some of our pending prospects looking at the parish. We have a coal gasification plant, a biomass facility, a theater, a distribution facility, a national retailer, and we're working with 3 local expansions right now. And one of the things that I wanted to show the council was the technology with the GIS program very, very briefly. We've actually had 2 prospects in town that we've actually used this site selection. This gives us an idea. When we have a prospect that's in town, we can do an analysis. If a company comes in and says, I need 10 acres, it has to be 2 miles from the interstate, it has to be this particular type of zoning, we can basically build layers upon the parish parcels and actually do a search in the parish and actually rank sites in the parish according to the company's needs. We've even had a visit by the school board who actually we're working with to help use this potential technology. And you can tell that, like I said, you can rank the sites based on the criteria for the depending on the company. We can then also click on and determine information on the particular site. We had a company look for about 60 acres along the river, and we sat with the software and basically we can look at a site, pull up all the information on the site, the assessment, and all the information on the site. So anyway, this is a 25-minute presentation crammed in 10 minutes, so we're doing the best we can and trying to give you a quick summary. Actually, everything that we do, our financials, our presentations, are all on our website. We're transparent. The only thing we don't have on our website is the name of prospects, but everything else is on there. So I'll have some time for some questions from the council, any particular projects or concerns.
Tommy, before we do that, I'd like to interrupt just for a second. Sure. My neglect, we had the civics class from East Ascension High School attending our meeting tonight. Would anyone left stand up, please? Thank you all for coming.
Make sure you give us his name.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you. Councilman Lower.
Mr. Kurtz, I just wanted to express our gratitude for all the work you guys have done in 2007. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job, and economic development with the jobs and the growth and the revenues that it brings for our many needs we have. There's not much more important than that. So appreciate that, and hopefully we have a good 2008 as well.
And we thank you, and of course, Chris Lohr and Randy Kluat are on our ex officio members of our board, and our first meeting is next Thursday at 4 o'clock, so you're all more than welcome to come.
Okay. Thank you. Councilman Joseph.
How you doing, Mr. Kerr?
Councilman Joseph?
You know what I'm looking for, right, Mr. Kerr?
Prospect of the mega site. No.
That's right. I need jobs. And every time I look at this sheet here, it don't look good for me on that side. You got to tell us what we need to do on the west side to get some business over there.
If you could invest more infrastructure, actually, in the business park there. Actually, the state has a prospect coming in about 2 weeks called Project Elvis. I don't know how to name it. But it's a food processing company, and that will be one of the sites that we're actually showing. So, but infrastructure is the key. If you all can put more infrastructure in that site, instead of saying, well, we may do it if you come, build it, they will come. Just like in Field of Dreams, same thing in economic development.
So we just need to work a little bit harder?
Especially in that business park, yep.
And that is the city of Donaldsonville Business Park,
That's
correct?
correct. That's correct.
So to make a site, we have no potential business for that? I mean, that's a big old site. We need something on that property over there.
Right. Well, and we've showed food companies that site, but like I said, but the issue is that it does not. I know you all have upgraded the water and some of the gas, but not the entire site. If you all could put roads in and develop it, that would help attract it even more.
So every time you come up and make this presentation, until we get a business over there, I'm gonna ask you that same question.
That's fine. Keep asking.
All right.
Of course, but in all honesty, as you know, we are aggressively marketing the mega site. we get a big home run, then I think you'll be extremely pleased.
All right, Mr. Kent.
Councilman Clewart.
Yeah, Tommy, didn't we basically for Mr. Joseph on the west side, didn't we have a little good news last week? We had one of the petrochem plants that's
Right, we had Terra do about
coming back
$10 million
online.
expansion. Yeah. A
That's
urea
great.
plant.
You know how many jobs they're going to be in?
It's mainly construction. Maybe 5-10 jobs at the most.
Thank you very much.
I didn't have anything to do with it, but anyway, we'll take credit there.
Councilman Valentine.
I could suggest Mr. Kurtz and Mr. Joel. He may not accept this too well, but I mean, you could probably politic to get the loop to come around by Donaldsonville, and we could get all the business.
I'm gonna avoid that. Conversation there.
Yeah, I'd like to just
there
make.
you go, Mr. Joseph. Ms. Shakes Snyder's for it.
I would just like to bring up a clarification on your presentation. Let folks know that you're always looking for jobs. But I mean, you take what you got at DuPont, about $66 million, and it's basically high-tech stuff and high-dollar equipment. So it's going to add 5 more operations-type personnel or whatever around the plant. And then you have a fabrication facility that 1/16 the cost, and it's going to put 100 and something jobs on.
Right.
So
Right.
it's the different types.
If they can find more people, even better. That's a major issue. The whole workforce issue is the number one issue in our retention calls, and even when we deal with companies that look at the parish, can we get the people? Major issue.
But our core diligence is along that river on that chemical corridor, and to get heavy industry in, and we have the feeders that come in behind them that we got to furnish, and that brings more jobs.
One of the other things that I didn't show in the GIS is that eventually we will have all the plants mapped along the river with a list of products, at least that we know of, so that when we have a prospect come in, and also the available land for co-location. So we'll be able to pull it up on the GIS, the actual plant products, and also how much land is available for co-location. And that was primarily with the interviews with plant managers that we've done over the last almost 2.5 years now, that have given us that information.
Anybody else? That's it, Tommy.
Thank you
Tommy,
much. Appreciate
thank
it.
y'all very much for your efforts. We really appreciate y'all. Thank you.
y'all. Thank you.
Next, we have grants. Miss Martha Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, President Martinez. I'll be brief because I see we're running a little over. I think it was supposed to be an hour, right? I just wanted to give you, as the new council, a quick overview of what the grants office has working right now, and to let you know by departments. And several of you that were here last time, it's going to be a quick little review of what we did before, but we do have some new. In the Public Works Department, we're currently working on 2 LCDBG grants. One is the Hillryville, and just to let you know, the total project is $1,864,853. The LCDBG award is $983,670. Of that, we have already been reimbursed by the state of $873,670. So what we're doing in our office is not waiting until the projects are over. We are constantly getting our money back, and that's something that we're going to work real hard at so we can turn the money back around. On the Lemonville project, we awarded $600,000, and we have not been invoiced as of yet because it's still in planning. We do have an application for 2008, 2009, and you will not get that one until one of our grants have been closed out. We're only allowed 2 at one time. Lake Pontchartrain Restoration Program. This is with EPA, UNO, and the parish. We were awarded $131,579. Of that, the grant we got was $125,000, and we are pending the UNO contract with the parish. EPA STAG grant, we have currently forwarded to EPA the reimbursement of $264,185.25. We're pending one document, which is a site certification, and then once that's there, we will be released the monies. We are in the process of starting the hill reveal reimbursement, so all the documents that we prepared for Dara, we will be doing the same thing. Louisiana Government Assistance Program, we awarded $60,400, and this is through the LAGAP program. It's for road safety. You will be seeing new signage on the roads, stop signs, slow areas. So we've done Mr. Bob's done a great job of putting that together for us, and Ms. Jackie Bowman. We have also, with the Louisiana Road Safety Improvements out of DOTD, and this is through the Louisiana Technical Assistance Program. I know some of you went to that meeting at the Police Jury Association. We were awarded $301,000, and we should get our award letter next week sometime. And this is for a proposed roundabout on the intersection of Highway 929 and Parker Road. This will be one of the first in the area, and we're planning on doing a traffic seminar type thing, or information on how to drive a roundabout. Through the Department of Environmental Quality, a recycling household hazard material program, we were awarded $42,000. This is a new grant that we acquired, and we'll hold an event. And we're looking at long term on how we can make Ascension Parish an environmentally green parish, or maybe do a pilot program to show that we are concerned about the environment and recycling litter, which is constantly around us. In the Recreation Department, we currently have the Governor's Recreation Trail Grant. We have one that's in existence right now. We're putting a walking trail, 621. At the time, this was a grant that we had prior for another program. We're going to extend it out, and we have one that's pending, so we will have the entire park of the recreation trail completed. So at that 621, the entire walking trail, phase 1, 2, and 3, will be completed. So that would be good to complete that park as far as the program that they started, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. On the animal shelter, we received $15,000, and this was through the Humane Society. And that was, these monies were received, and we will do a yearly 3-year reporting on the data of the animals in the animal center. In our building department, Uniform Code Implementation Funds, this is through the Department of Safety. We were awarded $73,550, and this is directly through Act 12 of the 2006 legislature, where the dealt with the building codes upgrades. And Laverne Bougeon with the building department is doing an excellent job in trying to upgrade, and it helps with inspectors' certification. In addition to that, we have a FEMA Uniform Code Implementation Grant that we were awarded $158,306.50. Now this is a reimbursable grant, but the items that were approved through FEMA, through the state, will be allowed for us to purchase, and then we'll get reimbursed. Office of Homeland Security, through the fire departments, Prairieville Fire Department applied for a SAFER grant, and we're still pending the notification on that. The Fire Assistance Grant, or Fire Act grant, applied through Donaldsonville, was awarded. It was reduced. It was 95% 5 match, so we were awarded $144,885, and the match through the fire department was $76,000. In addition to that, appropriations through the state on Act 18, we were awarded $55,000, and that goes to the fire departments, and they're currently working that. hazardous mitigation pilot plant, which you saw the program, I think, in February, where Mr. Lou Couture came and updated you on that. I'm closing out. Finally, we have finally closed out, I'm very proud to say, the Donaldsonville Riverfront Project, the Welcome Center Tourist Center Project, the Donaldsonville Kiosk Project, and the Dutchtown Pedestrian Path. These grants were started maybe 2002, 3, 4, but working with the Department of DOTD, Aaron Ellisor, Joey Turo, Kathy Abear, Mr. Bob Turner and his staff, and GSA, we have finally, and the grants department, we have gotten in the room and we have finally got all the paperwork. We actually got $4,000 back, which was a miracle. And we're very excited to have these old pending files closed out for you. So that's as quick as I can go. I do have 2 resolutions for you tonight. The first one is a 2008-2010 Louisiana Emergency Shelter Grant. We have to come to you.
So moved. Moved by Councilman Lambert, second by Councilman Valentine. Any discussion? Any opposition? Resolution passes.
Okay. May I ask who made that motion?
Mr. Councilman Dempsey Lambert.
Okay, I just want to know who was going to be the first one to do this for me. Second one is for the 2008 Land Water Conservation Fund. It's a resolution authorizing us to proceed with the grant.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Valentine. Any discussion? Opposition? Motion carries. Resolution carries.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And we're off to a good year.
Okay, thank you, Martha. Thank you. Hey, number 14, Prairieville Fire Department Construction Project. Change order number 1, Mr. Ken Jones.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, and when the president gets in, Mr. Martinez. I'm here tonight representing the Prairieville Fire Station. Before you, for your consideration, it would be change order number 1, which is dictated by the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development. We submitted a driveway application to the department, and they decided at their discretion to request that we upsize a culvert at the driveway at LA 73.
Motion approved.
Moved by Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Lohr. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you. The second matter before you is change order number 2. During the pre-bid conference, the question came up about the building permits and development fees, and I have the target on my head. It's my fault. Instead of following up on this, I will tell you that we gave instructions to the bidders to not include permits and development fees until we could check with the appropriate departments to find out if those fees would in fact be waived, as they are in other jurisdictions around this area. My staff, we dropped the ball. It went out to bid. With that being excluded, the contractor is coming back and wanting to be reimbursed, and that's what's the motion.
Motion by Councilman Lohr, second by Councilman Valentine. Any discussion? Opposition? Motion carries.
Lastly, on this same matter, if you would so direct the parish president to sign the change order when they are delivered to him.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Number 16, Fire District number 3. The board requests recertification of population service by the Prairieville Fire Department. Chief Stewart.
Yeah, I'll come up and speak. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, council members. We participate statewide, local municipalities and jurisdictions in a 2% fire insurance rebate. There's a formula done for handing that down. Those are fees collected by the insurance commissioner off of insurance companies on fire insurance policies they sell. We've been, for some time now, possibly maybe in 2000 it may have been updated, but as Fire District 3, our formula is based on a population count of 18,000. We had asked and had GIS here recount and figure what our population may be in Fire District 3, and they came up with a somewhat conservative but an estimate of 40,000, and we're asking the council to recertify the population of Fire District 3 at 40,000 for purposes of the 2% insurance rebate program.
A motion by Councilman Johnson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Lower. Any discussion? Opposition? Resolution passes.
Thank you.
17, contract with the Palmer Group. Councilman Thompson.
Motion that we approve the contract with the Palmer Group.
Have a motion to approve the contract with the Palmer Group.
Second.
Second by Councilman Valentine. Any discussion? Opposition? Motion carries.
This is Chairman, just for point of information, this is someone that was, I think, was in contract with the council several years ago and and did an excellent job, and past administration had chose not to re-up it, but the current administration under Mr. Martinez has decided to go back to this group, and they do an excellent job in Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Valentine. 18, cancellation of change order number 1 for the jail project and approval of issuance of change order number 2 in the amount of $373,000. Mr. Jerry Hebert.
Yes, Chairman. What we're trying to do is just clean up some things that happened. There was a change order that I think came to y'all previously that had the wrong numbers in it. So what we said after meeting with everyone is we decided we just go ahead and delete all the change orders that were there, come back with one change order that we know is absolutely correct. What the change order includes is item 1 is to do some perimeter fence work for security reasons. The dormitory expansion, which includes a food prep area, exam, and waiting area. And then there's a piling thing on there. The reason the piling was is because that was approved separately and processed in what we thought it was approved anyway, and processed separately. So we had the 2 line items separate just to make it clear. But it's really the same thing as the expansion of that exam room. So that's the 3 items really that we have on this first change order.
I'll make that motion so we can discuss.
Motion by Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Lambert. Any discussion? Councilman Valentine.
Yeah, I guess I don't really have a problem because I know about this, but for some reason we don't have that in our packet. Does anybody else have it in the packet? But we went on a 2/3 to put something else in here, but for some reason we don't have that in our packet.
I've got a copy of it.
I'm aware of it. Yeah, and I don't think I saw an email on it, but I do know that we discussed this. But is everybody okay on moving on this without it being in your packet?
My question is, I know it's a change order, and I mean, the biggest thing is, once again, my question is where we stand at on the budget with the jail. I mean, that's becoming a big issue, and I just want to make sure that we are within that budget on the jail. I mean,
I can't address the water and sewer issues, as you know, but relative to the jail, we came in substantially under budget, and I think when I looked at the bond issue, there was some contingencies in there, and the money for this expansion was actually in the original bond issue. I'm not a bond attorney, but when I looked at it, I saw it in there, so I think it was in there. It was approved previously, but the number that was submitted to the council was actually incorrect, so what we're doing is just adjusting that number today.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Lower?
We did discuss this at the Finance Committee meeting, and while there was some debate about, or concerns about being over budget with the jail project, I mean, this is just part of getting the project management around this project and just correcting some past mistakes. So I think we need to go ahead and approve this change order.
Any more discussion? Any opposition? Motion passes. We will now go to 18A.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Hebert.
Yeah, 18A has to do with, there's some water issues, and I think Gorney's been doing a great job, give him credit, of really tracking down and dealing with the water issues and trying to figure out what we actually have to do there. GSA, I think, wrote a letter
saying that the time frame to get us the water and the capacity we need, the jail project will be finished. So what we're proposing to do, or what I think the council is at, what we're asking the council is to let us go ahead and design a tank and a pump system so we can get water in there to ensure we at least have water to the jail when it's finished construction. In the letter from GSA, and I'll kind of read it to you a little bit, as we previously discussed, improvements to the system, which is the water system, in June 08 that will satisfy the flow and jail requirements. However, these improvements are not scheduled to be completed until June of 09, requiring interim considerations to be made at the jail expansion project. So being that we're the architects on that particular project, our mechanical engineer actually designed the system, which will enable us to give pressures and water capacity to our sprinkler design guy that's actually doing a sprinkler, and that's why this becomes pretty critical, because he can't design his sprinkler system without having those pressures, and I can't give him the pressures until we know what they are.
Right.
So
moved. Moved by Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Shea Snyder. Any discussion?
Yes.
Councilman Shea Snyder.
Well, I just want to say also I appreciate Mr. Gautreaux and Mr. Matassa had been out there, among others, going out and water testing a couple of times, and we really found out exactly what the problems were in the last couple of weeks. And also the fact that the fire suppression system that we had in the existing jail was not really adequate and up to speed, and so that was all brought under consideration and everything. So I mean, you know, we appreciate y'all diligence and moving out there and making things right, and this is something good to move forward on.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Joseph.
Yes. Mr. Abraham? Correct. Yeah. And you mentioned that the sewage. The design of that tower and what you come, we have an estimated cost on it, and I mean, you know what the ballpark figure that may run between. I can't.
Mr. Joseph, I would, you know, we're not dealing with the sewer project at all.
No, the water tower and everything.
Oh, the water. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think you're going to be between $150,000 and $200,000.
Okay.
You know, until we design it, now obviously we won't be able to give you a budget number, but I think by then, and then our goal is to change order that into the project we have now, so we'll have to have him, give him a set of documents, and when we come back to you, we should have a real number, unless you choose to do something else. But I think due to the timelines, it really needs to be done as a change order into the existing contract with Thompson.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
That answers the question. Okay. Lead up to my next thing, just to inform the council on, and that is the sewage project. We do not have a timeline on it, and that's on behalf of ACUD1 with the water. We are in the process of building the tower, just as was GSA, as stated in his letter. Now, the timeline, if we do not know the timeline for the sewage project, so it may be the jail finish in November, December. The sewage project may not be completed till March. We do not know that. So these things may work out the way we want. Well, put it this way, may not work out the way the sheriff wanted, based on this. But if everything work out to November, the sewage go in time, and the jail is finished, then it's required for this tank and booster pump. Now, if that goes beyond that of January 1st, after making some phone calls on some tank manufacturers and everything, we can cut that timeline to February on ACUD1 water tower. You know, but that's all pending on what is the time for the sewage to go into the jail, when it will be completed. So that's something big to work on.
Yeah, and just one comment relative to the sewer. You will have to have, you know, we can't go into the existing plant, so you will have to have sewer in order for us to get occupancy. So there's no question there.
And that's the point, that it plays a major role. We can get all the water we want, we can do all this here, but still, we do not have the sewage. We can't occupy the jail.
But let me tell you, if you don't approve us to at least do the design on the tank, then I can't release the sprinkler guy that's doing the sprinkler in the building, and I'm technically holding up the contractor. So I'm kind of between a I got a catch-22 here. We really need to do a design on the tank and get the system, which you'd have to pay us for, which isn't a whole lot of money, but we'll come back to the council and ask for a obviously, at that point, we'll have to make a decision whether we do it or not. If we don't do it, then your system's going to have to meet the capacities that we gave them relative to the tank and the pump.
Correct.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Any
Parish President wanted.
Parish President?
I just want to look a little bit more into that sprinkler system. If we've been paying for a sprinkler system that's supposed to work for 10 years or 8 years, whatever it is, and it wasn't working, I'd like to maybe talk to that manufacturer or whoever was the representative at the jail for that.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay,
anything
sir.
about the existing. The reason that issue came up is because we're actually got a couple little expansions that are going on existing to for laundry and stuff for this project. And when we tried to get the water pressures, we just didn't have what we needed. So that's the reason we realized there was a problem and brought it to the attention of the parish.
Okay, sir. Any more discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, next, number 19, renewal of contract for Gidry & Associates, Councilman Thompson and Ms. Manda.
This is a contract renewal, consultant for the River Region Caucus. I'd like to offer a motion that we renew his contract.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Thompson, second by Councilman Shakespeare. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries. Number 20, contract renewals, legal counsel, Ms. Manda.
In light of the fact that council passed a resolution to just go ahead and have these automatic renewals take place, we really don't need to discuss this. Earls & Associates is just a task order contract for surveying services, and Dr. Aguilar does some medical inspections for us. There are no changes to the contracts. No.
Need a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Joseph, second by Councilman Thompson. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries. Planning and zoning recommendations, number 21. Mr. Laverne Bourgeois.
Council Chairman and members of the Council, President Martinez. These are for review only, this item on the agenda, and that's for review and to be taken up at your discretion at probably the next meeting for a public hearing and an ordinance to the effect.
I'll read the zoning review. It's zoning review ID 184508, lots 2, 3, and 4 of the Forest Lawn subdivision for Lakes of Ascension, LLC, located on the south side of Louisiana Highway 621, approximately 800 feet east of Louisiana Highway 73, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from medium-intensity residential to mixed use, located in Section 34, T-9-S, R-2-E, Southeast Land District, Ascension Parish. That's for review only. Next, we'll move into our introduction of ordinances. Number 22, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from medium-intensity residential to crossroads commercial, located in Northeast 1/4 Section 21, T9S, R3E, Parish of Ascension, zoning review ID 184008, Ivy LeBlanc property, lot A-1, 1.44 plus acres for Barbara Little, located on the northwest corner of Louisiana Highway 935, by Northeast Road and Roddy Road.
Move to introduce.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Lambert. Any discussion? Any opposition? Ordinance is introduced. 23, introduction of an ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from medium-intensity residential to crossroads commercial. Bankers Investment, LTD, LLC property. Lot B for Bankers Investment, LTD, LLC. Zoning review ID 184108, located on the northeast corner of Louisiana Highway 935 by Northeast and Roddy Road.
Move to introduce.
Moved by Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Thompson. Any discussion? Any opposition? Ordinance is introduced. 24, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from medium-intensity residential to crosswords commercial, the James Boyce property, 1.45-acre tract for James Boyce, located on the southwest corner of Louisiana Highway 935, by Northeast Road and Roddy Road.
Move to introduce, Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Valentine.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Joseph. Any discussion? Any opposition? Ordinance has been introduced. Introduction of an ordinance, I'm not real sure how you say that. Parish Villas and LaFay Central Spud Development Plan located on the southwest corner of Louisiana Highway 42 and Louisiana Highway 929 for Legend Homes, LLC by Ferris Engineering and Surveying. That's Council District 11.
Move to introduce.
Moved by Councilman Joseph.
Second.
Second by Councilman Cullen. Any opposition? Any discussion? I'm sorry. Any opposition? Ordinance has been introduced. All right, to amend this, number 26, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from rural to crossroads commercial, zoning review ID 183607, John H. Bro property, A, 1.7 plus acre tract for John J. Bro, located on the south corner of Louisiana Highway 935, Bayou Northeast Road and Roddy Road.
Move to introduce.
Moved by Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Kluart. Any discussion?
Chairman.
Councilman Shakespeare.
Only discussion. I'd like to have DPW take a look at it because we do have in the future to widen Roddy Road, and it may come up into that section or whatever, and just to see what the right-of-way is needed, and if we agree to a rezoning that they would be willing to give up as part of the rezoning right-of-way or servitude or whatever it would be that would be necessary, that we could get that in advance.
Okay.
So that when the road widening comes, we would have that. So if they could give us Mr. Bob, if you can give us some information, we can take a look at. Thank you.
Councilman Kluart.
Yeah, Kent, are you talking about that one corner?
Well, it should be the whole.
We're doing all four corners.
And I let it slip by on that. If you could do it for the whole corner, and give us a recommendation on that about what we would need, so we could put some setbacks.
I already purchased it right away. You did purchase them on Roddy Road.
That's what we want to find out.
Yep. Mr. Bob will handle it. Any more discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Lambert.
Being this is the only corner that's zoned rural, I know the other one showed rural, but I think me and Mr. Laverne had a discussion about that. This corner here was zoned rural because of a petition signed by the residents of this area, and I'm going to have to object on this particular one because of that reason. The people wanted it rural for a reason, and I'm going to stick with people in that area.
Ms. Suzanne, Councilman Lambert objects. Any more discussion? Opposition? Councilman Lambert. Motion passes. 27, to enter into a servitude agreement with the Ascension Parish School Board.
Council members, this is for Galvez Middle School. We were doing some road work right along there, and it's for a little piece of property.
So moved, Chairman.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Lambert, second by Councilman Thompson. Any discussion? Any opposition? Ordinance is introduced. Number 28, for the donation of a vehicle by the Ascension Parish to the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Thompson. Second by Councilman Lohr. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries. Ordinance is introduced.
Motion adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Lambert, second by Councilman Cullen.